I see Isabel's number on the screen. Did she want to say something?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great, thank you for taking my question. I was going to ask a different question, but now um, I'm going to follow up on what we have been discussing. If you're, um, so if we, I do feel that when we incarnate, we basically know when we're going to leave at the soul level. But once we are on the earth plane, can there be an adjustment? Can we change our minds and renegotiate the contract, if you will? Or is it a permanent, it's permanent. It's a decision that we entered into before incarnating and therefore it cannot be changed.
Uh, that is an interesting question because um, I have never heard it put in that light that once you are in the physical, you would like to renegotiate your contract. Everything is done in harmony. So I would think that if you became very ill and were close to death and you fought off the situation, so to speak, and you healed yourself and you went on to live a very long life, I guess that you might say that that was renegotiating the contract. But there is no contract, certainly, when you enter into the physical world, even if you have thought that this is what you would be doing. The, the, the important elements of a life are somewhat mapped out. That is true, but they are all subject to change. And so the pattern of death would also be subject to change because nothing in a life is planned to such detail that um, it cannot be changed. For there are so many things for which your original desires for entering into the life would would change. Perhaps you learned the lesson early that you wanted to learn or experience, or the other person, if you are there for the purposes of aiding someone else's incarnation and experiencing, helping them with karma, then there would be that if they had no need any longer to have you do something, then there was no reason why you should do it. And the karmic aspects are such that if you would see it as harmful to yourself, you would seek to um, change. Um, you would have to take the right actions for yourself in your own interest. That is what a life is about, is partially creating happiness for yourself and success and prosperity and enjoying the life. It is not meant for you to suffer. So even if because of karma, you came back into a situation where there was, it was difficult for yourself, perhaps you were beating, or it does not matter. If you understand and come to knowledge about the karma that is there, it can be instantly released. You do not have to continue to suffer through the whole life. Once you understand, perhaps you forgive your abuser, or you become the best person that you can be in spite of family history and things that have been done or said to you. That there is, you, your karma is over. For whatever reason you chose to come into such an environment, as soon as you have grown beyond it, such as forgiving the person who is abusing you or helping someone else, sacrificing yourself in some way to help someone else. Maybe it is just a little way, but might be considered a sacrifice. The karma is gone. You do not have to suffer a whole lifetime. You do not have to work by an original plan, because there is always an element of growth in every plan of life. Although it is for you to live a happy life, a wonderful life that is filled with good things for yourself, and this is what you want. If you are making the wise decisions, if you see the error in some ways, and so you change your way of being, then there is no karma. You have already erased the karma, because you made the changes you wanted to make in yourself. You became better. You became more loving, or more generous, or whatever it happened to be, so that you changed. And so you've erased your karma, and you can go on to enjoy a very happy life from that point on without further lessons to undergo. But the chances are, whatever the reason was that you came into, if when you first experience it, if you overcome it and move on, you'll experience it again at a later time, maybe to a more difficult degree. And then it will come forward perhaps even a third time if you are successful all the time. So that, in a sense, you are never totally free of your initial reason for coming in. If it was to demonstrate a skill or to learn something, the lesson will simply present itself in a different way, and you will change yourself again and again, and learn and grow and be better and better and better. I hope that's helpful.
Yes, very helpful. Thank you.
And you had another question? Do you wish to ask it now?
Oh, may I? I
Yes.
don't want to take over somebody else's time. So I've been pondering on artificial intelligence and how that affects us as human beings. And with my limited knowledge of it, I'm wondering how that's going to affect humanity in terms of our free will. As it progresses and as it advances, I could see it controlling our lives more and more, and we probably don't even realize it, how it's being done, because we get used to it and it's just so subtle. So eventually, how will that affect our free will? Because I could just see us not having either, or at least have our free will affected, if you will.
Um, the artificial intelligence will certainly have a great effect upon you, but it will not affect your free will, because you always have the ability to make decisions. Now, your governments or the programs of this artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence may um, try to predict how you will think and how you will act, and even to mimic you in many ways, in the sense that they follow the same ideas or traits, depending upon, yes, are they learning from you? Then they will be like you in many ways. Are they going to try to manipulate you? Is it possible that you manipulate other people? When you see, the artificial intelligence will always be a reflection of the programmer and the beliefs of the programmer. Even if it is a thought about deliberate program, it still is going to reflect the programmer. If you look at your creation of the computer, it is a reflection of you, of men and women. Um, they have essentially a brain. I believe you call it RAM or memory, and you have a hard drive, which is a lot like your memory or your subconscious mind. Everything that has been put into this, that has this machine has been put into this machine is still there on its hard drive in random places and ways, but it can be found. And that is similar to your subconscious mind. So you have your RAM, which is your conscious mind, and your hard drive, which is your subconscious mind. And of course, you've got the rest of the body, which is simply found in the electronics that keep this thing moving and the way everything is built. So that is because how did how can people conceive of anything? They conceive of it within their minds, and it is always a reflection of the Creator. Whatever is created is a reflection of the Creator. And that is what you must remember in all ways. So that when you create something, it is a reflection of your consciousness, your ideas, and what you are thinking. So artificial intelligence will will be, the way it acts or the way it works will always be a reflection of its creator in some way, shape, or form. And so I do not see this taking away free will. You still have the ability to act and react to every situation, however you would wish to act and react. You may find that, in a sense, the most that artificial intelligence will be able to do would be similar to being manipulated by your mother, perhaps, or your father, or your friends, or your teachers, or your government. I mean, you are all manipulated by your government. Your government gives you tax breaks on certain things because it wants you to do certain things. So it makes it in your best interest to do certain things. This is manipulation. And this happens all the time with government. Um, and but it is still free will whether you choose to be to react in the way that they are seeking to manipulate you to act. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, and that arises even more questions because, so let's take that to the next level, that is going to be manipulated by greed and selfishness and control and power, to and have maybe a few people who could dominate it, control millions of people. And that's what I meant by free will. When you have that kind of domination because via the artificial intelligence, where do we come in and how do we fight it? How do we overcome it? How do we exercise our free will by not being part of it?
By making your own decisions, of course, and thinking your own thoughts, because you will always make your own decisions and you will always think your own thoughts.
So you don't feel that artificial intelligence will dominate to the extent that we will be powerless?
That we will be followers?
Powerless, that we won't have any power, that we won't be able to have to be able to the not to be part of it.
There is nothing that has yet been created or will ever be created that will leave you powerless.
Excellent.
Because you are extremely powerful in your own right. Even someone who chooses to be hypnotized so that they are asked for a post-hypnotic suggestion has the ability to refuse to accept the post-hypnotic suggestion because they have the power to do that. Even though the subconscious mind is very powerful, and that is what hypnosis is working on, it is not powerful enough to stop the conscious mind if the conscious mind is determined um, not to accept anything that the subconscious mind is saying. And you all have done that successfully from time to time when you have overcome a fear or you have done something that you initially thought you did not want to do or would not like to do, whether it was to taste a new food until you discovered that you liked it, to overcome a bad habit. These things happen with people. And think of any child of 16 to perhaps 22. How much control does his parents have over that child? Not very much, because if the child is determined, they will simply do whatever it is they want to do. They will not accept the beliefs of the parents. They rebel against it. It is actually a natural part of their growing up process, which is necessary for themselves. But this still exists in every human being, no matter how young or how old they are. There is the desire to determine our own pathways in life, make our own decisions. And so artificial intelligence will not be able to change that. We still have the power to think our own thoughts. You will still have the power to think your own thoughts, and you will still have the power to make your own decisions. You may choose to do the way you are directed because you will find benefit in it, but you have the power not to do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your generous time
Yes,
in answering my questions.
it has
I
been
really appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. Is there anyone else who has a question?
I was wondering what you were saying about physical pain before. If you have physical pain, it's sometimes overwhelming in your mind. So obviously you want to get rid of it, but you were saying that's not the attitude we should have. So how do you form an attitude or a thought or whatever to overcome pain?
You misunderstood. I said you do not have to suffer. You will experience pain and you may want to overcome the pain. But there is, you still have the choice not to suffer. You see, you are equating experiencing pain with suffering, which I distinguished as being different. That suffering is the determination that you have that you should not be experiencing this pain. And when you make a judgment to the point that you do not want something that is being thrust upon you, you do not want to experience something that you have, that you do not want to go on with your life in this way, you are causing yourself suffering, because that judgment that you do not want this and you shouldn't be experiencing this is what causes your suffering. Now you have pain and you do not want to experience it any longer, or you're having difficulty tolerating the pain. So you can go in search of solutions for the pain, which could be taking painkillers. It could be finding the source of the pain and correcting the problem. It could be many different things in order to get rid of the pain that you are experiencing. You do not have to experience it any longer than it takes you to find out the reason you are in pain and to correct that situation. Now, many people are in pain because for reasons that have nothing to do with themselves per se, and I am not talking of physical pain here, I'm talking of emotional pain and suffering. They do not like what their children are doing, And this is constantly irritating to themselves. And they are constantly dealing with that thought that this should not be, my daughter, my son, whatever it is, should not be acting like this, should not be behaving like this, I never wanted this, a child to do this, and thinking those type of thoughts and causing themselves to suffer because they do not want someone outside of themselves to be doing what they are doing. And that is causing yourself suffering because you cannot control other people. You can control, you may not be able to control the source of your pain, but you can find the source of your pain and seek to control it when it is physical pain, because it is part of your body and part of your life. And if your life is such that you have made decisions that you do not want to experience, or your children should not be doing something, or your husband should not be doing something, whatever it happens to be, you can choose to change those thoughts so that you do not suffer. You can always say, I don't want my husband to do something like this, but if he does, well, that's okay. And I will think of other things. Or I will divorce him if he wants to continue to act like this. You can take steps to change your life, or you can continue to suffer.
Okay.
Does that make sense for you?
That part, the emotional part, yes. I'm still baffled with some of the pain things because people get physical pains here or there, whatever, and they're not expecting it, didn't know about it, whatever. But I mean, I can't say that if you're in pain, are you supposed to say this is okay? I like this. I'm happy with this. I mean,
No,
that's
of
not going to
course
work
not.
too well.
Of course not. I explained to you, but you have the option to find out what is causing the pain. What is the source of the pain? Is there a pin sticking you? Maybe you should remove the pin from your clothes. Buy a different pair of shoes because the ones you're wearing hurt your feet. Um, you can investigate the source of the pain and take an action to get rid of it. The suffering is what you cause on the emotional level. You don't have to continue to experience pain. There are very many ways to remit pain and eliminate pain from the physical body. And you can seek them out to find out, to help you get rid of the pain. We are not asking you to suffer.
Okay, then on the
What
other
you,
side of the coin, do we actually, by our emotions, upsetments, whatever we put our states we put ourselves in, actually create pain in our body?
yes, that can happen. That can happen. Many people, they have an attitude that something is not right in their lives, and so they are thinking, and the next thing you know, they will have a headache or a stomach ache. Do you understand? There
Okay,
are many people who can think themselves sick.
already. They can't think themselves into cancer or something, or liver problems or something like that, can they?
Yes, they can.
Oh, wow. Okay. I
Yes,
was wondering about that.
yes, you can, by denying what is real in life and not taking the steps um, to change it or correct it in some way, and continuing to be unhappy about it. And even we are talking true suffering here, that whatever is happening you're unhappy with, you can cause yourself to manifest an illness based on that particular area of suffering. So that, and some of that comes with the physical body, that some physical bodies are more subject to certain areas having problems, such as there are people who always develop stomach issues when they are unhappy over things that are going on in their life, or they're tense over situations. They may develop stomach aches. And now you continue to put yourself under that tension and stress for many years. You could develop an ulcer, which is much worse than just a stomach ache. Then that ulcer could turn into a cancer because you still have not taken a step to help that. There are other people for whom they develop headaches. So now this is taking place in their brain, or they don't like what they're seeing and they develop a problem with their eyes. There are people who have difficulty. They may look at their lives as being burdens and then develop shoulder problems because they are carrying the burdens of their life, whatever it happens to be. And then there are those people who develop back problems because of the difficulties they experience. They feel they're doing back-breaking labor, or that type of a thought comes into their mind, and so they manifest pain in those thoughts. Yes, that kind of thinking can bring about illness in the body.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So it is better to deal with issues rather than to ignore them and to suffer with them. It helps you on the physical level, all different ways.
I have a quick question that is just related to what you've been talking about. What are foot problems representative of? I've broken 3 toes that healed many years ago, but they still, cause me discomfort. What is it psychologically or emotionally that might represent?
It might represent, your ability to move forward in your life. That you may find that they become more your toes become more painful, or you may have broken those toes at a time when you were working very hard at moving ahead in your life in some way. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And
So,
may have occurred at that time, and you broke your toes and you healed them, and that you also got over that situation. Now they still cause you problems from time to time with pain because they were once broken, and you may also find that you're more likely to manifest the pain when you have difficulty making progress in your life to achieve a goal or some other area in which you need to make progress.
okay, that does make some sense. Thank you.
Yes. Many times people manifest small problems in their body, which then manifests a problem. And as they heal their body, they are also healing their psyche from the problem that they had. And so it's so to speak, a vicarious way of healing yourself when sometimes you cannot take the actions in your life that you want to take, particularly when we're talking about something like with the feet and moving forward. Are there other questions?
Yes, I was wondering if we did something in a past life that maybe didn't work out the way we thought it was supposed to. Is there a way to correct that?
In a past life from this life? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you certainly can't go back into the past life and make any corrections. Your past lives are just like your past in this life are done. But in particular, in a past life, you really cannot change things. However, if the past life has anything to do with this life, your attitude in this life could change. And so you're thinking differently, and you can erase. Well, in this life, okay, in your current life, if there's something in your past in this life that happened that made you unhappy in some way, shape, or form, if you can change your perception and view it differently, you may find then it no longer is a problem in your life. An example might be a child falls and hurts themselves, and their parent reacts extremely emotionally and hollers at them for being careless and causing a problem. Now, they may internalize that at that time of saying, one, that they were very careless, and they also caused a problem, which may be very true. But if they can look at that situation from adulthood, they can see that instead of being bad, their parent was just upset. And so now that whole incident in their past takes on a new meaning with the understanding that their parent was upset. They didn't mean anything they said at that time. It is just that they were trying to instruct you to behave differently in the future with great emphasis because they were upset. So you change your past in that way by changing your perceptions about the event that you wish to change and seeing it differently. Then you will have changed the past event, effectively changed the past event for yourself. I don't know if that is helpful to you.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Yes, when you have events in the past, in psychology, I believe they call it reframing the event, so that when you look at events that happened in your past that caused you distress or unhappiness, if you can see it in a different way, frequently you can relieve your own distress and unhappiness. And it is often helpful when you need to forgive someone for their actions. And although you wish to forgive them, there is still a residual emotional part of yourself that is holding on to that incident, and you are truly not forgiving. Because when you forgive someone something, you can forget about it and it doesn't need to bother you anymore. If it continually comes up into your life and is an obstacle in your life because you always think about it, then it's helpful to reframe the situation into a way of looking at it in which you no longer are upset about the situation, which then allows your forgiveness to be more complete because you simply see it differently now. And so there is no need almost to forgive, and you can forgive easily.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any other questions?
I need you to explain something now. Elizabeth was just talking about past lives. I'm not sure if she meant past lives affecting this life, but
I was
I
not certain of
remember.
that. I was not certain of that either. There is nothing that you can do to change a past life.
But what happened in the past life, don't you bring some of that with you to this life? All right, here's what my brain was going with. What I heard that, all right, this lady drowned in her past life, and in this life she was scared to death of water. So, but when she found out from the past life that she had drowned, then she knew why she was scared of water now. Or like if somebody say was scared of heights when in another life, and sometimes that comes with you. So when you're in this life now, you can change the fear of the water, you can change the fear of the height.
Well,
Would that be correct?
If there was something in your past life that is affecting this life, such as you drowned in a past life, so you still have for some reason you have a fear of water in this life, then understanding that, oh, that was your fear in the past life, now allows you to overcome the fear in this life.
Right.
That does happen.
Okay.
Whether it's a fear of heights, whether it's a fear of animals or horses or whatever it happens to be. Sometimes fears that we have that are not explainable in this life are explainable from a past life. If you can access the fear or the situation from a past life through hypnosis, where you might go back to find out the source and find out that it was from a past life, this may stop you, make it easier for you to make the changes you need to make for yourself in this life. But you're not changing the past life. You are
Right. That's,
using
yeah.
the knowledge to make a change in this life.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't quite sure what she was saying, whether she really wanted the past life to physically change, or, you know, or was she meaning something that happened in the physical life? If we brought it here with us, can we change it now?
Yes, I was not sure of that either.
Okay.
But I gave her the answer that she could change her past in this life.
Right.
But, and yes, if she meant it in that question that a fear from something in a past life is bleeding over into this life, yes, by understanding the fear in the past life,
Mm-hmm.
you can change what you are feeling in this life or experiencing it. That is true for even those situations that are in the past in this life. If that is what we were saying, when you reframe it, when you change your perceptions, when you come to know something in a different way, then you can effectively, though, if it's still in this lifetime, change that past, because now you see it differently. And since pretty much everything that you experience is an illusion and is the result of your own perceptions, that is what makes the difference in your life. Just changing your beliefs or your thoughts. Are there other questions?
Yeah, just a quick question about what you're talking about right now. If all time, in fact, does happen at once, which quantum physics is saying for quite a while now, why wouldn't, and certainly it's true what you just said about changing your perceptions, why wouldn't we be able to change a past life? I mean, if there really is no time anyway, and we can change the past in this lifetime by changing our mind about it, why wouldn't we be able to change a past life?
Because time is not an illusion in this life. Time exists. Now, in spirit, time does not exist, and you can look at it from, you can go look at the Akashic records, and you can see situations, but you will not change situations. You can merely see them. And so, but in this life, there is time. And you are saying in quantum physics, I believe you are saying that one of the theories is that everything happens simultaneously.
Yes, it's interesting to think that you can change things in your past in this life, but you can't change things in your past in another life. That is quite interesting to think about. But I'm familiar with the Akasha, and
Right.
yes, that must be, or it may well be so, that you can't. It's funny though, odd.
Not at all. It is, to me, it is the way it is supposed to be. Yes, past lives are done. You can only change a past life while you are in that past life. So it is the present life for yourself. You can make changes in your present life, both how you wish to think of the future, what you wish to do. These are all the decisions that you can make in this life.
And the decisions that we make in this life are going to affect our future lives, right?
Your future lives, Yes and no, because things that you learn in this life, which change this life, will change your future lives simply from the point of view of that you may not decide to enter into a life with the same sort of challenges. You would make different choices in the future. It is why the future, people frequently ask me for predictions on what will happen for, we will say, the election. And I do not do that. First of all, because I do not want to influence you in any way. And if I tell you that X will happen in the election and it was what you wanted, you may decide you do not have to go to vote, and you may be the one vote that is absolutely necessary to make it happen. So therefore, my telling you that might have changed the results of something. And similarly, if it's something you do not want, you may go out and vote where you might not have voted. It's very complicated. So I do not make predictions that in which predicting may change what happens in the future. It must unroll and undevelop as it must do. And when you look at the Akashic records, while the past appears to be very solid and unchangeable, and for the most part that is true, when you look to the future, there are things that can be seen, but many things cannot be seen because the future in the Akashic records are still unveiling and being written. So therefore, they are not yet written there. I know it is sometimes the belief of some individuals that you can see everything, the past and the future as it will be. But the future is mutable. It is changeable because of the question, I believe it was you who asked about free will, or it was Isabel. You still have free will. And as a result, you can change the future from what it was starting to turn out to be into something different.
Yes, it's interesting. The whole concept of time is very involved and complicated and very interesting. Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. Time is very complicated. It is time.
8:55.
8:55. I'm being told that it is time for me to say goodnight. And so I give you thanks for your presence in this evening. I am sorry for the, it of course was not within my control, the power outage where we lost the ability to communicate for a while until we could reestablish a new connection. But it has been my pleasure to be with you in this evening, and I give you all my blessings. Good night.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I am
much.
back.
Good night.
Thank